There comes a moment in life when everything shifts, not because the world around you changes, but because something inside you finally surrenders. You stop pushing against the current. You stop forcing doors that weren't meant to open. And in that sacred moment of release, you discover a truth that's been waiting for you all along. What if I told you that everything you've been chasing is already chasing you? What if the very thing you're exhausting yourself trying to capture is actually moving toward you right now, and your frantic pursuit is pushing it further away? Take a deep breath with me right now. Feel the air entering your body without any effort from you. You don't chase the breath. You don't force it. You simply allow it. And in that allowing, life flows through you perfectly. This is the great paradox we're going to explore together today. The paradox of attraction. The mystery of how letting go creates more than holding on ever could. The ancient secret that the masters have been teaching for thousands of years, that somehow in our modern world of hustle and grind, we've completely forgotten. For years, perhaps decades, you've been taught to strive, to pursue, to make things happen, push harder, work longer, never give up, never surrender. And there's nothing wrong with action, but there's a way of moving through this world that doesn't exhaust you. A way that doesn't leave you depleted at the end of each day, frustrated, wondering why the harder you try, the further your dreams seem to slip away. There's a way of being that feels like grace instead of struggle, like flow instead of force, like dancing instead of fighting. Let's talk honestly about what chasing feels like. You wake up in the morning, and before your feet even touch the floor, your mind is already racing. What do you need to accomplish today? Who do you need to impress? What goal are you behind on? What deadline is looming? What problem needs solving? The day hasn't even begun, and you're already exhausted. Your nervous system is already activated. Your body is already tense. You haven't even opened your eyes fully, and you're already in a state of stress. You chase success, telling yourself that when you finally reach that milestone, that income level, that position, then you'll be happy. Then you'll be able to relax. Then you'll finally feel worthy. You chase love, scrolling through profiles, going on endless dates, trying to find that person who will complete you, who will fill the emptiness you feel inside. You chase approval, constantly checking how many likes you got, how many people validated your existence today, measuring your worth by external metrics that change with the wind. You chase security, hoarding money, resources, opportunities, building walls around yourself because you believe the world is a dangerous place of scarcity and competition. You chase happiness as if it's something hiding from you, just around the next corner, always just out of reach. A destination you'll arrive at someday if you just keep running fast enough. And here's what happens when we live in this energy of pursuit, this energy of chase. We send a very clear message to the universe, to the field of infinite possibility, that surrounds us. We say, I don't have what I need. I am incomplete. I am lacking. I am not enough as I am. Something essential is missing from my life, and until I get it, I cannot be at peace. Every action taken from this place of deficiency, from this consciousness of lack, creates more deficiency. It's not because you're doing something wrong. It's not because you're being punished. It's simply because the energy of desperation, of need, of chase, it repels the very thing you're seeking. Think about it in your own relationships. When someone is too eager, too needy, too desperate for your attention, what happens? What do you instinctively do? You pull away. Not because they're bad or wrong, not because you're cruel or heartless, but because that energy feels overwhelming. It feels like pressure. It feels suffocating. There's an invisible force pushing against you, and your natural response is to create space, to back away, to protect your own energy. Now imagine the universe. Imagine life itself operating in a similar way, not as punishment, but simply as a reflection, a mirror of the energy you're putting out into the world. When you chase money from a place of fear about not having enough, from a consciousness of poverty and lack, you create more situations that prove you don't have enough. The bills pile up. The unexpected expenses appear. The opportunities fall through. When you chase love from a place of loneliness, from a belief that you're incomplete without another person, you attract people who reinforce that loneliness, who abandon you, who can't meet your needs, who reflect back to you your own sense of unworthiness. When you chase success from a place of proving your worth, from trying to show the world that you matter, that you're somebody, you'll never feel worthy no matter how much you achieve. You could have every accomplishment imaginable and still feel that gnawing emptiness inside, that voice that whispers, it's not enough, you're not enough. This is the treadmill, the hamster wheel, the endless pursuit that leaves you right where you started, only more tired, more depleted, more disillusioned. And maybe you've noticed this pattern in your own life. Maybe you've seen how the things you grip most tightly seem to slip through your fingers, while the things you hold loosely somehow stay. Maybe you've experienced how the job you desperately needed went to someone else, but the one you felt relaxed about came easily. How the relationship you tried to force fell apart, but the one that felt natural flourished. But there's another way, a completely different paradigm for living, a different relationship with life itself. The shift from chasing to attracting begins not with what you do, but with how you see. It begins with a fundamental change in perception, in understanding, in consciousness. Close your eyes for a moment. I want you to imagine a garden. In this garden, there's a seed that's been planted in rich. The soil is moist and fertile. The conditions are perfect. Now, does that seed chase the sun? Does it worry about whether it's growing fast enough? Does it strain and stress and lose sleep over becoming a flower? Does it compare itself to the other seeds? Does it set goals and create action plans and vision boards? Does it hire a coach to help it maximize its potential? No. The seed simply allows what it already is to emerge. It trusts the intelligence that placed it there. It trusts the wisdom encoded in its very DNA. It trusts the soil, the water, the sun. It trusts the seasons, the cycles, the perfect timing of nature. It trusts the process of becoming. And here's what's profound about this. The seed doesn't become something other than what it is. An acorn doesn't strain to become a rose. It becomes an oak tree because that's what it already is in potential. The becoming is simply the revealing of what was always there, waiting for the right conditions to express itself. You are like that seed. Everything you need to become who you're meant to be is already within you. Not somewhere out there to be chased, to be hunted down, to be captured. Within you, right now. In this very moment, every quality you admire, every dream you hold, every aspiration that stirs your soul, it's already there in seed form, waiting for you to provide the right conditions for it to grow. The shift happens when you move from I need to get to I need to become, from acquiring to embodying, from having to being. Instead of chasing money, you become someone who naturally attracts abundance, who thinks abundantly, who acts abundantly, who sees opportunity everywhere. Instead of chasing love, you become someone who embodies love, who is so full of love for yourself and for life that it overflows onto everyone you meet. Instead of chasing peace, you become peace itself, carrying that stillness within you regardless of external circumstances. Do you see the difference? Can you feel how different that is? It's subtle, but it changes everything. It's the difference between trying to draw water from an empty well and becoming the spring itself. Let me share something with you. For many years, most people operate from their ego, from that small, frightened part of themselves that believes in separation, in lack, in competition. The ego is the voice in your head that never stops talking, never stops judging, never stops comparing. The ego says, you must fight for what you want because resources are limited. You must prove yourself because you're not inherently valuable. You must protect what you have because someone might take it away. You must be better than others to be safe. You must achieve to be worthy. You must control every outcome to be secure. But there's another aspect of you, a deeper dimension of your being, your higher self, your soul, your true nature, your divine essence. Whatever name you give it, and it doesn't matter what you call it. This part of you knows a different truth. It knows that you are connected to an infinite source, to the same creative intelligence that spins galaxies and orchestrates the dance of atoms. It knows that what is meant for you cannot be taken from you, that your true desires are actually the universe's desires for you. It knows that the universe is not a place of scarcity, but of abundant, overflowing, endless generosity, where there is more than enough for everyone, where one person's gain is not another person's loss. When you align with this higher aspect of yourself, when you operate from this consciousness, attraction becomes natural, effortless, inevitable, not because you're using some technique or trick, not because you're manipulating energy or forcing outcomes, but because you're finally in harmony with how life actually works. You're swimming with the current instead of against it. You're working with the universe instead of fighting it. You're dancing with reality instead of resisting it. Now, we come to the heart of this truth, the principle of allowing. And I want to be very clear about what allowing means, because it's often misunderstood. Allowing is not passivity. It's not sitting on your couch eating chips and waiting for life to deliver your dreams to your doorstep. It's not spiritual bypassing or avoiding responsibility or refusing to take action. Allowing is actually the most powerful form of action there is, because it comes from alignment rather than resistance. It comes from trust rather than fear. It comes from connection rather than separation. Let me explain it this way. Think of a river flowing through a landscape. Does the river force itself downstream? Does it struggle and push against the rocks in its path? Does it stress about whether it's going the right direction? Does it doubt itself? No. The river follows the path of least resistance. It flows around obstacles. It goes with gravity, not against it. And in doing so, over time, that river becomes powerful enough to carve through mountains, to shape entire valleys, to transform the landscape, not through force, not through violence, not through struggle, but through persistence, patience, consistency, and complete alignment with its true nature. You too have a current running through your life. Some call it purpose. Others call it destiny or calling or dharma. Your soul's intention, the reason you're here, the unique contribution you came to make. When you align with this current, when you stop resisting it and start flowing with it, doors open that you didn't even know existed. Doors you couldn't have forced open if you tried. People appear in your life who help you in ways you couldn't have planned, couldn't have orchestrated, couldn't have made happen through networking or strategy. Opportunities present themselves with perfect timing, arriving exactly when you're ready for them, not a moment before or after, but when you're busy chasing what you think you should want, when you're following someone else's definition of success, when you're forcing and controlling and manipulating circumstances, trying to make life bend to your will, you swim against that current. You're working against the natural flow of your own life. And it's exhausting. It's depleting. It's soul-crushing. You might make progress, you might achieve things, but it feels hollow. It feels like you're living someone else's life, checking boxes that don't actually matter to you, climbing a ladder only to discover it's leaning against the wrong wall. Allowing means you set your intention clearly. You get specific. You plant the seed with consciousness and care. You get crystal clear about what you desire to experience in your life, what you want to feel, who you want to become, how you want to contribute, what kind of difference you want to make. You don't just drift through life hoping for the best. You make a clear choice about the direction you're heading. But then, and this is the key, this is where most people struggle. You release the attachment to exactly how and when it must appear. You release the need to control every detail of the journey. You release the anxiety about timing. You release the grip of fear. You trust. You develop faith. Not blind faith, not naive faith, but intelligent faith based on observation of how life actually works. You trust that the intelligence that orchestrates the rotation of planets, that causes your heart to beat 60 to 100 times per minute without your conscious instruction, that grows your hair and heals your wounds and digests your food and fights off infections while you sleep. You trust that this same vast intelligence is working on your behalf. You trust that you're being guided, even when you can't see the path. You trust that everything is unfolding perfectly, even when it doesn't look perfect from your limited perspective. This doesn't mean you do nothing. This is not an excuse for laziness or avoidance or sitting around waiting for magic to happen. It means you take inspired action rather than desperate action. And there's a world of difference between the two. Desperate action comes from fear. It's frantic, it's forced, it's exhausting. It says, I'll work 80 hours a week because if I don't, I'll fail. I'll lose everything. I'll prove all my doubts about myself correct. Desperate action is the energy of pushing a boulder uphill. You're making progress, but it's grinding. It's hard. It requires constant effort. The moment you stop pushing, you slide backward. Inspired action comes from alignment. It's energizing. It's natural. It's joyful. It says, I feel called to make this phone call, to send this email, to have this conversation, to take this step. And I'll trust where it leads. I don't need to see the whole staircase. I just need to take the next step. Inspired action feels like a gentle pull rather than a harsh push. It feels like being drawn towards something rather than forcing yourself toward it. It feels like play rather than work, like expression rather than effort, like allowing something to flow through you rather than making something happen through sheer willpower. Do you feel the difference in energy? Can you sense it in your body right now? One energy contracts. It creates tension in your shoulders, tightness in your chest, a knot in your stomach. One energy expands. It creates spaciousness, openness, a sense of possibility and ease. Pay attention to how different actions and decisions feel in your body. Your body is always giving you information about whether you're in alignment or in resistance. Here's a truth that might challenge you at first, but I invite you to sit with it, to really contemplate it, to test it against your own experience. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. You attract what you're broadcasting energetically. You attract what matches your vibration, your frequency, your state of being. If you want love, but you're filled with resentment, with bitterness, with anger at all your past relationships, you'll attract relationships that mirror that resentment back to you. You'll find yourself in the same painful patterns with different people, wondering why you keep attracting the wrong partners. If you want abundance, but you're constantly focused on what you lack, constantly complaining about bills, constantly worried about money, constantly comparing yourself to others who have more, you'll create more lack. The universe doesn't hear your words. It responds to your vibration. If you want peace, but your inner world is chaotic, if your mind is a storm of anxiety and worry and rumination, if you can't sit still for 5 minutes without reaching for your phone, peace will elude you. You could travel to the most peaceful places on earth, and you'd bring your inner chaos with you. You could create the perfect external circumstances and still feel that inner turbulence. Because peace isn't something you find, it's something you are. This is where the real work begins. Not out there in the world, manipulating circumstances, forcing outcomes, trying to make things happen. But in here, in your inner landscape, in the garden of your consciousness, you must become a vibrational match for what you wish to attract. You must embody the qualities you seek. You must be the change you want to see, not just in the world, but in your own life. What does that mean practically? How do you actually do this? It means cultivating the feeling states of your desires before they manifest in physical form. It means you don't wait for circumstances to change so you can feel good. You feel good now, and the circumstances shift to match that energy. If you want more love in your life, practice being loving right now. To yourself, to strangers, to the person who cut you off in traffic, to everyone you encounter. Be the source of the love you're seeking. Don't wait for someone to love you before you open your heart. Open your heart now and watch how the world responds. If you want abundance, practice the feeling of abundance right now by being grateful for what you already have. By celebrating your current blessings instead of fixating on what's missing. By being generous with what you have instead of hoarding in fear. By trusting that more is coming instead of gripping what you have. If you want success, celebrate others' success as if it were your own. Be genuinely happy when good things happen to people. See their success as evidence that success is possible, that the universe is abundant, that there's plenty to go around. Don't let envy poison your heart. Don't let comparison steal your joy. This isn't fake until you make it. This isn't positive thinking divorced from reality. This isn't spiritual bypassing where you pretend everything is fine when it's not. This is alignment. This is tuning your inner radio to the frequency you want to experience externally. This is recognizing that your inner world creates your outer world, that your consciousness shapes your reality, that what you focus on expands, Let me give you a practice you can use right now, today, this moment. Take a moment and think about something you've been chasing, something you've been pursuing desperately, something you believe you need in order to be happy. Really bring it to mind. And now, here's the important part. Don't focus on the thing itself. Don't visualize the new car or the relationship or the bank balance. Focus on the feeling. What feeling are you really after? What emotion are you actually seeking? Is it freedom? Is it security? Is it joy? Is it peace? Is it love? Is it worthiness? Is it belonging? Get to the core feeling underneath the desire. Now, here's the powerful part. Here's where the magic happens. Ask yourself where in your current life, right now, today, you can experience that feeling even in small ways. If what you really want is freedom, where can you choose freedom today, right now? Maybe it's saying no to something you don't want to do. Maybe it's taking a different route home just because you can. Maybe it's dancing in your living room to your favorite song. Maybe it's leaving work on time instead of staying late. Maybe it's speaking your truth in a conversation instead of people pleasing. Freedom doesn't require $1 million or a beach house. Freedom is available right now in 1,000 small choices. If what you really want is security, where can you feel secure right now? In the breath that continues to flow without your effort. In the body that continues to support you, to heal you, to carry you through life. In the relationships that are already here, the people who already love you. In your own resilience, your own strength, the fact that you've survived 100% of your worst days so far. Security doesn't come from your bank account. It comes from your trust in life, in yourself, in the larger intelligence that holds everything. You see, when you practice the feeling state of your desire in the present moment, something profound shifts. You're no longer waiting. You're no longer postponing your happiness. You're no longer making your peace conditional on external circumstances that may or may not happen. You're feeling good now, and in feeling good now, you become a magnet for experiences that match that frequency. The circumstances shift to match your vibration, not the other way around. This is the secret that's been hidden in plain sight for centuries. You don't chase the feeling by getting the thing. You embody the feeling, and the thing comes to find you. You become the quality you're seeking, and life reflects it back to you in form. You be abundant in consciousness, and abundance appears in your life. You be love, and love finds you. You be peace, and peaceful circumstances arrange themselves around you. Now, we must talk about something difficult for many people, something that goes against everything you've been taught, something that your ego will resist with every fiber of its being. We must talk about letting go, about non-attachment, about surrender. And I know what you might be thinking right now. But if I let go, doesn't that mean I don't care? Doesn't that mean I'm giving up? Doesn't that mean I'm settling? If I stop chasing, won't I just lose everything? No, Letting go doesn't mean you stop desiring. It doesn't mean you become passive or apathetic or resigned to a life you don't want. It means you stop suffering over the desire. It means you hold your desires with an open hand instead of a clenched fist. There's a beautiful teaching from ancient wisdom traditions that says, hold your desires like you'd hold a butterfly. If you grasp it too tightly, if you squeeze your fist closed, what happens? You crush it. You destroy the very thing you wanted to keep. But if you hold your hand open, if you create a safe, gentle space, the butterfly may stay or it may fly away, but either way, you haven't destroyed it. You haven't crushed it with your need. You've honored it. You've allowed it to be what it is. Attachment is the energy that says, I can only be happy if this happens exactly the way I want it to happen, exactly when I want it to happen, exactly how I've planned it. It's the energy that creates anxiety because you're constantly worried about losing what you have or not getting what you want. It's the energy that creates fear because your peace is dependent on circumstances you can't fully control. It's the energy that creates disappointment because life rarely unfolds exactly according to your plans. Attachment is suffering. This is what the Buddha taught. This is what every enlightened being has pointed to. Our suffering comes not from what happens to us, but from our attachment to things being different than they are. Non-attachment says, I have a preference. I know what I'd like to experience. I'll move toward it with joy and enthusiasm and full engagement. But my peace doesn't depend on it manifesting in a specific way or time frame. My happiness doesn't hinge on this one outcome. I'm okay either way. I trust that what's best for me will come, even if it doesn't look like what I expected. This is where faith comes in. And I'm not talking about religious faith necessarily, though it can be that. I'm talking about faith in the larger intelligence of life. Faith that you're being guided. Faith that you're being taken care of. Faith that even when things don't go according to your plan, they might be going according to a larger plan that you can't yet see from your limited perspective. Faith that the universe is friendly, not hostile. Faith that life is for you, not against you. How many times have you looked back on your life and realized that something you thought was a disaster, something that devastated you at the time, actually opened the door to something beautiful? That relationship that ended and broke your heart actually made space for a much healthier relationship to come in. That job you lost and felt crushed by actually freed you to find work that truly fulfills you. That rejection that felt crushing actually redirected you to something better, something more aligned, something you couldn't have imagined at the time. That failure that seemed like the end was actually a beginning in disguise. Life has a way of working out, not always the way we expect, not always according to our timeline, not always in ways we can understand in the moment. But when we look back with the wisdom of hindsight, we often see the perfection of it all. We see how the pieces fit together. We see how the so-called mistakes were actually course corrections. We see how the delays were actually divine timing. We see how the detours were actually shortcuts to where we needed to be. So set your intentions. Get clear about what you want to experience. Take your actions. Move toward your desires with full engagement and enthusiasm. But hold them lightly. Hold them with an open hand. Release the outcome. Release the need to control every detail. Release the timeline. Release the specific form it must take. Trust the process. Trust the unfolding. Trust that something greater than your limited mind is orchestrating your life. This is the art of allowing. This is the dance of co-creation with the universe. As we come to the close of our time together, I want to leave you with a vision of who you're becoming. Not who you need to become. Not who you should become. Who you already are beneath all the layers of conditioning, beneath all the fear and doubt, beneath all the limiting beliefs and false identities. You're becoming someone who no longer chases, someone who no longer lives in a state of lack and desperation, someone who knows their worth isn't dependent on external validation, on achievements, on other people's opinions, someone who trusts the unfolding of their life completely, someone who radiates the qualities they wish to experience rather than seeking them outside themselves. You're becoming a magnet, an attractor, a beacon of light. Not through manipulation or technique or strategy. Not through law of attraction tricks or manifestation formulas, but through authenticity, through alignment with your true nature, through being fully, unapologetically yourself, through living from your essence rather than your conditioning. When you walk into a room, people feel your energy before you say a word. They can't quite name it, but they're drawn to it. They're attracted to it. It's the energy of someone who isn't needy, someone who isn't trying to take from others, someone who isn't seeking validation or approval or permission. It's the energy of someone who's already whole, already complete, already at peace within themselves. And from that wholeness, from that completeness, from that inner peace, you naturally attract opportunities, relationships, experiences, and circumstances that match your vibration. I invite you right now, in this moment, to place your hand on your heart. Feel it beating, steady, reliable, faithful. That heart doesn't doubt. It doesn't question whether it should beat. It doesn't worry about the future or regret the past. It just beats, moment by moment, faithfully, reliably, effortlessly, approximately 100,000 times a day without your conscious involvement. It trusts its purpose completely. It never questions whether it's good enough or doing enough or being enough. It just is. You can trust your purpose too. You can trust your path. You can trust your journey. You can trust that the same intelligence, the same force, the same creative power that beats your heart without your instruction, that grows your fingernails while you sleep, that orchestrates the migration of birds, and the blooming of flowers and the movement of tides, this same intelligence is orchestrating your life. You can trust that you're exactly where you need to be right now. Not where you should be. Not where you wish you were. Where you need to be. Learning exactly what you need to learn. Experiencing exactly what you need to experience. Becoming exactly who you're meant to become. Stop chasing what's already yours. Stop running toward a future that can only meet you here, in this present moment. Stop postponing your happiness, your peace, your joy, your love. Stop making it conditional on circumstances that may never align the way you think they should. Everything you've been seeking has been seeking you. The love, the abundance, the peace, the joy, the success, the fulfillment, it's all moving toward you right now. Your only job, your only responsibility is to become still enough to receive it, open enough to allow it, trusting enough to recognize it when it arrives, which might not look exactly like you expected. The chase is over, my friend. Do you feel that? Can you sense the relief in that statement? The chase is over. You don't have to prove anything anymore. You don't have to force anything. You don't have to convince anyone of your worth. You don't have to strive and struggle and exhaust yourself trying to make life bend to your will. You don't have to be anything other than what you already are. You are whole. You are enough. You are complete. You are connected to infinite possibility, infinite potential, infinite creative power. From this moment forward, live as the attractor you were born to be. Not by doing more, but by being more fully yourself. Not by adding more to your life, but by removing what isn't truly you. Not by grasping, but by allowing. Not by forcing, but by flowing. Not by chasing, but by becoming. This is your nature. This is your truth. This is your power. This is who you've always been beneath all the layers of fear and conditioning. Welcome home to yourself. Welcome back to your essence. Welcome to the life that's been waiting for you to stop running and finally arrive. Take a deep breath, a full, complete breath that fills every cell of your body. And when you're ready, when you truly feel ready, open your eyes to a world that's been waiting to give you everything you've been chasing. It's already here. You're already here. Finally, beautifully, miraculously, in the same place.